What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Texas League video podcast. I will let my illustrious hosts introduce themselves.
Once again, before you today, we have the number one overall seed, Mathis King, with a 10-4 record, 1,668.52 points. Just putting it out there like that. I missed last week, so wanted to throw some numbers out there for y'all. Let y'all know I'm here to win this year.
And you are, sir?
I am not Mathis King. I don't have the number one seed, but I did make the playoffs. And unlike Mathis King, I have won it before and I plan to win it this year.
And I am Dwayne Devastator Morrow, who failed in his mission to make the playoffs this year, unfortunately. We had a good year, had a few rough games. A couple of them we should have won, some lineup decisions, but unfortunately on the outside looking in. So I am merely a commentator and a spectator on this year's championship quest. But I do give a hearty good luck to all six of the teams that are in the Texas League playoffs. So we're going to review the Week 14 matchups to see where the final seedings landed, and then we will make our predictions for the first round playoff games. We are also going to do a live consolation pick. So much like the lottery for the non-playoff teams in every league, we are going to go ahead and do a lottery for our six teams that are not in the playoffs to find out where they will be seeded for next season. So before we get to all that, Jared, what's our kickoff question this week?
I was going to forgo my kickoff question so we can see where these people are drafting, so I might be able to send out some trade offers.
Well, you can do your willing and dealing later. So,
I
I,
do have a question. I was at work listening to a podcast when I should have been working, but I do that all the time. What is your thoughts on is it strategy or is it collusion if you know that if you lose, for example, Mr. Number One seed over here already had a playoff spot locked up. Is it strategy or collusion if he had bench players in an effort to let someone win, knowing it would cause someone else to miss the playoffs with us who has a strong team?
ooh, that is a great
Well,
question. Deuce,
for
I'm
me
gonna let you take
personally,
this one first. Go
okay,
ahead.
for me personally, I look at it like this. Yeah, I already had a first round bye locked up, but I wasn't raised to just fold. I was raised you play to win, no matter what the hell the stakes are. Last year I finished like 11th or 12th or something ridiculous, and the person I played against, who shall not be named, tanked his team just so he can get the number one pick. Henceforth, why we're doing this weird consolidation thing now. But I don't give a damn if I was in 11th place. I was trying to put up my best players out there because 11th place or not, I wanted to win, but I wanted to win the right way, not just because some joker wanted to just fold like a sucker. And so that's just my personal thought on that.
Yeah,
I think
I
you can
agree.
tell where I stand.
No, I absolutely agree. I don't think any team should lose deliberately. I think that yeah, because here's the thing. What if it wasn't about like if it wasn't a situation where it was close? I mean, because here's the like you like coming into this last week, we had four teams fighting for the last two playoff spots. And I don't think out of fairness to any of those four teams, it would have been right for any team to tank or to, drop their lineup in any shape, form, or fashion to not put their best foot forward. Like it's one thing for you to, you know, like if you make a bad lineup decision, you make a bad lineup decision. It happens to the best of us, right? But say if you deliberately don't swap out a player that you know is out, like this player's been on the a doubtful list for the last 3 days, and then they're being out. They're declared out on Friday or Saturday, and you just never sub them out. That's not cool. So that's one of those things as commissioner, which I believe all three of us at some point have been commissioners of leagues. It's one of the things that I watch and as commissioner, and I have pissed people off because I have absolutely prevented somebody from trying to, I don't know if it was collusion or not, but I have prevented teams from deliberately tanking a game that had playoff implications from doing
Mhm.
something like that. So definitely pissed off the people in the league, but in the end, I'm not damaging the integrity of our league by allowing some bull stuff to go down. So yeah, but all right, great
The
question.
people on the podcast said it was strategy because the move
Disagree.
was. I disagree as well. I just asked because
Yeah,
it was done with the intentions of keeping like a team on the bubble out because they had some injuries and those players are coming back and they knew that they had the ability to make a run. So it's like, hey, if I let this person win, I still got my playoff spot locked up. This person gets in, and that team we ain't got to see. I'm like,
right.
no.
Yeah, I still call baloney stuff on it.
Yeah.
Like for real, we in this thing, play the game. Period.
Right. You win, you win, you lose, you lose. It is what it is.
Right, right. I just want to touch on a few of our of the week 14 NFL games. How about the Lions locking up the NFC North back to back in a great game, great Thursday night game between the Lions and the Packers, which ultimately doomed me from a fantasy standpoint. But shout out to Dan Campbell on the Lions, man. What do you think? What the Lions are one of the teams, and I know this, I'm a big trivia guy. They're one of the teams that has never played in a Super Bowl.
Hmm.
Dr. Deuce, you're the math guy. What would you set their odds at for actually making it to the Super Bowl this year?
Well, San Francisco's a shell of themselves. Minnesota can't figure out what they want, whether they want to play super hard or just kind of slack off. Trying to think who else in the NFC could even possibly give them. Uh, if
The
I had to
Eagles.
put a percentage, I'm going to probably say about 85% chance, honestly. The only way they slip up would be an NFC title game because that seems to be their Achilles heel.
Yeah. Uh yeah. And so like you just said, the Vikings, I'm still tripping. The Vikings are freaking 11-2. Like that's it's still that just still makes me scratch my head. The Vikings are sitting at 11-2. The Seahawks sitting at a solid 8-5,
Hmm.
currently in first place in their division. So it looks like they're headed back to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, Lil
Um,
Rob was at that Cardinals game, Seahawks, because he's a Seahawks fan, so he
yeah,
was loving
okay.
every second of it.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was. Okay. Shout out to him. We're only going to touch on the Buccaneers Raiders game because it wouldn't be fair not to. Dr. Deuce. We didn't get a chance to discuss the last time our rivalry teams played, but Jared, what do you think about how did you feel about your Bucks win over the Raiders?
Oh, wasn't the we had a lot of turnovers. Basically, I think they kind of played down to their competition. Y'all got a lot of injuries. I don't think the game should have been that close with multiple running backs hurt and a backup quarterback in.
Third
But
straight.
at one point, it was the third. Who got taken? This man and got took off in an air cast for a bone bruise. I'm like, okay, but Baker came out. I don't know what Baker was doing, throwing interceptions. Next thing I know, I'm like, get it together. Then we got a W, and that's all that matters.
That's what's up. Uh, Eagles scraped by the Panthers. A drop on the 1 yard line was
Mm.
the difference between the Eagles staying in contention for second, uh, number two and potentially number one overall in the NFC going into the playoffs. Uh, Bills, Rams. Talk about if you had any
Man,
Bills or Rams skill players, especially if you had Josh Allen, you got to be pretty darn happy about that game.
six
On
touchdowns total, 500 something yards, or no, it's almost 400 yards. But man, I'd have killed to have it on fantasy. I'm like, man, I'm cleaning up
man,
right now.
man,
As a Puka
imagine
Nakua owner, I was pretty happy with his performance.
Of course you were.
indeed. And here's the crazy part. In one of the leagues I'm in, the guy had Josh Allen on his team, still lost the game and got knocked out
Man,
of the playoffs.
oof.
The rest of his team is shite. So
Mm.
yeah, sometimes it's hard out there for you
Mhm.
when you have a 1 man gang and the rest of the gang is just sitting back and watching them. But Speaking of close losses, Dr. Deuce, I thought
Really?
y'all. Oh yeah. Oh no no no. This is all hands, baby. Oh yeah, man. So close.
Chiefs
So
always find a crazy way to win. I ding off the damn upright and go in by the damn third string kicker. I'm sitting there like, man, you let Mahomes get the damn first down. They gonna run the clock down. I'm like, they've been getting lucky. But hey, a win's a win. All you need is 1 point. Everything else is for show. So
at some point, that I do think that at some point the Chiefs' luck is going to run out. Like they're not infallible. They've
yeah,
been challenged. Like again, you know, sitting at 12-1. What do they have? Eight one-score wins or
8 or
something like
9,
eight or
yeah.
nine one-score wins. Six of them being walk-off wins where either they had a last-second kick or, like in the case of our game, a crazy-ass turnover
Hmm.
where, or a blocked field goal or something to end the game. But, man, tough game for the Chargers, but the Chargers still in the playoff hunt. So, dropped them to 8-5, but still very much in the thick of the playoff hunt for
Yeah.
a spot in the AFC. So we cannot move on until we talk about the legacy that of the Leon Lett that hit the Cowboys on Monday Night Football.
Oh,
How much
how you touch?
PTSD? How much PTSD do you think that caused in those 40 and up Cowboys? I would say even 35 and up Cowboys fans that remember that game against the Dolphins where Leon had that huge gaff.
That was a great game too. I remember that game back then. But man, when the punt went up, I'm like, okay, they blocked. Okay, I'm like, okay, they got a shot. They could do. Did that fool just touch the ball? That fool just touched the damn ball. I'm like, man. I honestly, I started laughing. I kind of did my best Stephen A. impression and just started laughing.
I mean, it's the same reason why they tell DBs, unless you are 100% sure that you can pick it off, knock it down.
Yeah,
So that's why they tell them, don't go for the pick, knock it down. On those Hail Marys, knock it down. And it's like, as the special teams coach, that's all you ever preach. In situations like that, you preach, get away, get away. All you gotta do, and it's the situation where, and again, as a referee, I know, Jared, I know you remember. There's only if the ball comes to a rest with no attempt to recover, the play's dead. That's all you have to do is do nothing. Yeah, that's why sometimes when you see a kick get blocked, you'll see the defense run the F off the field.
yeah,
Like, we're not gonna touch this ball and have anything crazy happen. I mean, but I will say his teammates did rally around him immediately and give him support. Things happen, right?
yeah,
And in that situation, when you're trying to, again, mathematically maintain your chances of making the playoffs, mathematically versus realistically. Mathematically, were they still in the playoff hunt? Yes. Realistically, no. And so that just kind of made things that much more realistic for them that this ain't the season
yeah.
for the Cowboys to have their miracle. But shout out to them though, man. You
Now
know?
who's gonna be their coach? Belichick just signed with UNC for 5 years. So
Okay, let's touch on that. I just saw that too. Did
I don't think he should
Bill
have done that.
the only reason I could think of Bill, he's 71 years old.
72.
Right. He said, oh, sorry, he's 72. Butch was 73, he got fired. Bill, you
Hmm.
71. You haven't coached in college in any capacity in damn near 30 years, probably longer.
Yeah.
No, matter of fact, it's definitely longer because he was with the Cowboys in the late 80s, early 90s. I'm
Well, he
not
was
the
with
Cowboys,
Cleveland
sorry, the
before that.
Giants. He was with the Giants.
He was with Cleveland before that.
Right. So, like, it's been probably about 40 years since
Yeah.
he was anywhere near a college campus in any capacity. The game has changed. So it's
Mm.
it's really going to be all about who he hires for his staff. He's going to have to hire a lot of staff members that have a lot of college experience, especially the people that can be in the room. Like I get it. If you're a UNC donor and booster, right? If you're going to keep writing these checks, you want the team to do something. that makes a big splash because you're going to need a hook to get these players to commit to your football team when we
Yeah.
know that everyone knows you're a basketball school. Everyone knows the ACC is a basketball conference except for about 3 teams realistically. And the 3 teams at our football schools are the 3 teams that suck at basketball in the conference usually. So so to get players but do you have those diamonds in the rough? You have the Lawrence Taylors, you have the Julius Peppers, you
Hmm.
have the Ronald Curry. Like every now and then you do get a great player to commit. But if you're gonna build a team, you need something for the players to hang their hat on. And having arguably the greatest NFL coach in history as your head coach is going to be an attractive offer for players who want to come to the school because it makes them think, oh, okay, I got a path to the league. You
Hmm.
know, we see that with Dion, right? Like
Yeah.
Travis Hunter wanted to he said I want to be one of the greatest cornerbacks ever. So he goes to the school where the coach is currently the greatest cornerback
Yeah.
ever to play in the NFL. And it makes sense. But it's going to take a whole lot more like recruiting, being in the room, all that stuff. It's a different animal. And
Hmm.
at 72 years old with 6 Super Bowl rings and nothing to prove, my biggest question is why?
Yeah.
Like, be a consultant for somebody's team, be an advisor, be a senior, anything. Hell, go be athletic director.
But did
But
Arthur Blank make a mistake by not picking him to be the Falcons coach? That's the question.
I would say no,
Okay.
because I love Bill Belichick as a football mind, but it eventually passes all of us.
Hmm.
No matter how good
Yeah.
we think we are, eventually things get to a point where it has passed us.
Time's
And
an
that's
enemy you can't
okay.
defeat.
And that's okay, right? Like it's not a knock on Bill, but it's just like you can't coach kids the way you used to. Like
Hmm.
things change, times change. Most of the time, coaches can only change so much.
Yeah.
Coach K got out. Nick Saban
Yeah.
got out. Like I don't think it was a coincidence that the three of them all retired at the same time.
Hmm.
Now the difference is I don't see Coach K or Coach Saban coming back. They like,
No.
nah, I'm good. But
They're
shout
like,
out
I
to
already got
Bill.
stadiums and courts named after me. I'm good.
Right. Shout out to Bill the Hoodie. All
Yeah.
right, let's jump into last week's games real quick. Since this game involved the high score for the week, we'll start off with Devastator versus Stairway to Evans. And Jared, I'll let you break it down.
Uh, you know, there's the issue of Mr. Reed, who decided he wasn't gonna do nothing. I don't know what that was all about. They just said, you know what, we're gonna get the ball to Josh Jacobs in the red zone instead of throwing the ball to Jalen Reed for short touchdowns, and I'm okay with that. But as a Jalen Reed owner, I'm sure you're not. You know,
It
there
was
was just some
very
things. To
upsetting
put
that
it
he
fair,
was just running. He was out there just doing cardio for 60 minutes.
cardio king. That's what you know. Some things. You know, some things broke my way. Uh, Number
Oh.
one, Rashad White got a lot of touches because Bucky Irvin got banged up, and that
Mhm.
helps the team out. With no Christian McCaffrey, the ball gets passed to Jawan Jennings. He had a good game. For some reason, the because Josh Allen was producing all them points, on the other side, the Rams had to produce a lot of points. Puka Nakua, 35 points. It's just the little things.
So we left a few points on the bench. You know, Jordan
Ooh,
Addison,
Addison. Ooh, yeah.
37. Adunze 18. But again, we love to live in this world where we think that, oh, if only I could have picked the perfect
Hmm.
lineup. But let's be realistic, right? I knew Addison would have potentially a good game, but I'm also looking at I was looking at it for the same reason I thought that Reed would have a good game, right? I expected it to be a high scoring game on Thursday night, and it was. It's just that Josh Jacobs got all the touches. Like one touchdown from Love to Jaden Reed to Jalen Reed, and it's that's 12 points. Two touchdowns, like it's I played my best thought. And again, Seahawks put up 30 points, but it was, you know, unfortunately, not a lot of those throws and catches went to DK. So again, when you look at a Seahawks team that put up 30 points in the game, you would expect that DK would be a little bit more involved in that scoring. But again, so it was an old-fashioned shellacking, uh,
Yeah.
which pretty much knocked me out of playoff contention. And Jarrett wins high score one more time for the season. So shout out to Stairway to Edmonds and good luck in the playoffs, my friend.
I believe that's my first high score for the season. You got to go into the
I thought it
playoffs
was
strong.
I thought it was your second.
I thought it was your second too.
It is your
Oh,
second. I think the first time it was a technical because Memphis doesn't do the high
Oh
score,
yeah,
but
yeah.
this is all yours, clean and clear, sir.
I believe it's the first. I'm gonna double check while we look at these other games. I thought,
Check your deposit receipts. You should have deposited $11 into your own account.
All right. In another matchup of teams, one team in the playoffs, other team needing a win and help to get in. Muff Divers came up just a bit short. So at one point, Chuck and Melanie, two boobs, two balls, one goal, were in first or second place, had a couple of tough losses and had dropped in the standings, but came back the last couple of weeks to march into the playoffs. And unfortunately for Muff Divers, like I don't know what happened, if this was just a miss on Brooks being out or if he got hurt during the game. I won't lie and say that I
you got hurt
do,
during
but
the game.
he got hurt. Okay. So, but the fact of the matter is, even with his optimal lineup, he would not have been enough to overcome the
Oh,
solid
that damn
one.
near 60 points from Josh Allen.
Right. Like it wouldn't have been enough. Like, and then here's the kicker. Even had he started Brock Purdy, he still would have won by 30. So either quarterback still would have got two
Yeah.
boos, two balls, the W. All right. So good luck to two boos, two ball, who will have a matchup next week in the first round of the playoffs. All right. Dr. Deuce, company man was one of those teams fighting for their playoff life last week at 7-6, but
Mhm.
with a win, they got in. So break it down for us.
They actually had a very consistent roster this week. I mean, there was no 50-point person. There wasn't even a 30-point person. Their highest person was Connor with 20. But, all these one, two, three, four, five, six, seven single digit numbers on Benchboro and Deal on Nate's squad. I mean, they just couldn't keep up. I mean, Burrow 32 points. That's solid. Burrow outdid Mahomes hands down with points, but Cooper Kupp outdid his whole receiving core by himself. And so it's like, it's Gibbs 16 points, Connor 20. Got a tight end with double digits. I don't think any other tight end got that damn high, other than someone else did. But Najee Harris with 11 points. I kind of forgot he was still playing.
Man.
But this ain't really been a year for kickers, so it's like he did have a kicker that got him 8 points, but it's like, damn.
And
I didn't
look,
even see Sam Darnold on the bench for 46 points.
so like
Could have
again,
been worse.
right, it could have been worse. So, shout out to company man who solidified that number 5 spot uh heading into the playoffs. We'll also have a matchup next week that we'll take a look at. In a battle of former champions. Boy, we just could not stop picking against Big Green these last 3 weeks, and she would just not stop winning these last 3 weeks to close out the season. There go to shut. Basically, she told us to shut up.
Yeah. Stufu, and we should have listened.
She did indeed. So shout out to Big Green. Although neither team will make the playoffs this year, she did have a solid end to the year. Kirkwood, man, solid roster, but just on the
Homes.com
lose.
is a new elevated home shop.
Sorry.
on the losing side of too many of those matchups like this season. So,
That's what
uh,
happens when you base your team on Christian McCaffrey.
man, yeah, I wonder if he's going to be on the trade block.
It might be.
He won the championship 2 years ago when McCaffrey was on. And
This is
then
true.
this year McCaffrey was on, but it was the IR. So and his team just couldn't.
So I'm kind of conflicted on which game to talk about first of these last two matchups because they both have very funny backgrounds to them. Let's go with our last week's high score winner. So what I was told is that he did not appreciate us downplaying his, and I'm going to use his words, stranglehold on the number one seed. And and I'm kind of pissed because I actually picked him to win this game because
I didn't.
in my scenario of things that needed to happen for me to make the playoffs, I needed him to win this game. So this is what you get when you put faith in someone that's spouting that hubris. So thank you, Super Mario Cristobal. Because your loss this week actually gave me a triple whammy. But shout out to Edcore, man. I mean, Jamar Chase has been doing what he does the whole
Yeah.
season. You know, I mean, 40 points. Let me see something else. Yeah, he really, yeah, I mean, like literally, if it wasn't for Jamar Chase. So, but shout out to Ed Corn, who, thanks to Jamar Chase, grabbed the last playoff spot, in the game that he was projected to lose. And the game
Oh,
that
not only that, thanks to Jamar Chase, it made the inevitable happen for Super Mario Crystal Balling.
And here we will look at our final matchup. Dr. Deuce ends the season with the number one overall seed. Highest scoring team to it, I believe.
Second highest.
Second highest scoring team, but
Yeah.
number one overall seed. How does it feel after having the season that you had last year, sir?
Well, you know what? They always say in math, it's always good to have a reciprocal of something. So to go from the bottom to the top, which is its own reciprocal, you got to love that. Little math knowledge for those folks out there. But not gonna lie, it feels pretty good. Baker Mayfield's had a good season. Justin Jefferson start getting the damn ball thrown to him, not just using him as a decoy no more, so Addison can get all his damn points. I mean, yeah, Keenan Allen, yeah, it is what it is. Bucky Irving got hurt. Again, it is what it is. I
Um,
mean, unfortunately, I had a bye week, so Derrick Henry couldn't play. So I was like, man, I might take an L this week just because I don't have my solid running back playing. But things worked out the way that they were intended.
Let's see, who did you have sitting down? He had Fire moved that down there,
I
but hey,
did.
but Kittle even had a better game. So
And Quentin Johnson stopped being stone hands and actually catching the damn ball.
ooh, that's gotta hurt. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
hanging with Hernandez was not going to make the playoffs. They were out of the playoff contention. But as a person who is been, and when you're out of playoff contention, sometimes you just want to feel good by beating a team that is going to the playoffs to end the season, just to give you the feel goods. And
yeah.
man,
Because
heck,
that would have left me in second. I still would have had a bye, but it would have left me in second. And Super Mario Cristobal, who thought he had a strong, stranglehold on the number one seed, which he clearly did not because he didn't understand the way mathematics works. But that's okay. We are here for you, brother. I got you.
with that being said, we will take a look at our final standings.
I would just like to say, as I pull this up, Mr. Caldwell,
Yes, sir.
as I'm looking at the points scored for the season, I believe, unless I'm looking at this incorrectly, that Mr. Morrow scored more points than you this season
That's
by a
hurt.
small margin.
That hurts me even more to be out of the
Yeah,
playoffs and to
Look.
be second in scoring.
that's what
Oh,
it
you're
is.
right. By 9 points. By
He
nine
scored
points,
what
you
I'm.
are correct. You are correct.
That just well again. So this is where I will say strength of schedule matters. Because this means that I was the third highest scoring team in two separate leagues that I didn't make the playoffs in. So that's okay. It hurts, but we move on. So
You also had the most points scored against you this season. So
exactly.
they go
So
hand in
that's what I'm saying, man. Uh,
hand.
that little victory that Acorn was able to eke out over Super Mario Crystal Ballin. Also gave Dr. Deuce the win in the host picks for the year with 58%. I came in one game short at 57. Jared one game behind me at 56. So cannot believe we have to give this man the mythical thumbs up twice. So
I know,
instead of
isn't that
giving
so
him
sad?
so instead of the thumbs up, we'll give him the finger.
Hey, you can tell me I'm number one. I ain't mad at you.
All right. So now, before we get into this week's picks, we are going to do a live randomizing of the six teams who did not make the playoffs this year for Texas Leagues. As you can see, the teams are entered in the order that they finished this season. No one has any additional weighting on their names, and this is completely random and live. So I am going to click the button and we will see what order the bottom half teams will have next season. All right. So with the sixth pick goes to Kirkwood. Pick number 5, hanging with Hernandez. Pick 4, Devastator. That's me. Pick number 3 goes to the Big Green. Up, up, up. So it's down to, I believe, Muff Divers or Bench Burrow and Deal. Pick 2 goes to Bench Burrow and Deal. And the first overall pick will be going to Muff Divers, the Auto Draft King. so So shout out. So there is our order for next season for the first six picks. The final six picks, of course, will be determined based on how teams finish in the playoffs. So shout out to Muff Divers. Uh, if I were Kirkwood, I would drop Christian McCaffrey so that Muff Divers would auto draft and pick him up next season. You want to talk about strategy, baby? Now that's
Or he
strategy.
can trade him to me for my pick in the first round. Just throwing that out there.
All right. So let us get into this week's picks. Because we have a 16 playoff, we are not going to be looking at the consolation bracket. So, because we have a 16 playoff, we have a bye in the first week. So, that means our first playoff matchup will be between Stairway to Evans and Edcorn, the number 3 and the number 6 seed. Dr. Deuce, who do you like in this one?
Ooh. You know, it's hard to go against Jamar Chase, what he's been doing the last few weeks. But honestly, Ahmad St. Brown with Jared Goff combo is going to probably be pretty nice. White's going to run through the Chargers this weekend, unfortunately. And I'm not sold on Kenneth Walker because I ain't seen him really do a lot yet. Bowers is going to get his catches on Monday night. I hate to say that about a stupid Raider, but let's just keep it real. He's a good tight end. Um, Baltimore's defense against New York should have some solid points. Washington and New Orleans. I ain't got no faith in no kickers so far this year.
Okay.
You know what? Because I am a nice guy and I'm a generous person and I love my other two co-hosts like they was my own brothers. I'm gonna have to go with Stairway to Evans this week. Nope, nope, nothing personal, Mook. You know, I love you like a stepbrother, man. But I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Cowan this week.
Uh, I too am going to go Mr. Cowan this week. Two of the games that stand out to me are number one, this game versus Buffalo. As we just saw last week, Buffalo's defense gives up a lot of points,
Mm-hmm.
especially when when you've got a quarterback that can really get the ball downfield and a talented wide receiver. Buffalo's defense can be exploited. We saw that last week. I expect a repeat performance as they go up against Detroit this week. Thursday night football, we have Rams versus 49ers. Both teams, records go out the window, home field goes out the window when it's a rivalry game like this between those two teams. I expect a lot of points scored there. Baltimore coming off of a bye is going to be looking to knock the dust off. as they make a final push to get in the playoff position. So I expect some points out of Mark Andrews as well. So I do like Stairway to Evans in this first game of the playoffs. Okay. And in our other play, oh, well, we'll make it official. Jared, are you picking against yourself this week?
Not in the playoffs.
Hey, brother, I'm just asking. All right. And in the other matchup, two moves, two balls, one goal versus company man. Uh, Jared, who do you like?
I am going to shockingly go with Company Man. And the reason I say that is, like you just said, in division games, things go out the window. Cooper Cup, I think, can put up some points. Jameer Gibbs and that same Buffalo defense that we just saw, what they give up, 40 plus points? Yeah. Jameer Gibbs gonna get some of them points. That Philly game, Philly and the Eagles, I think Philly and Pittsburgh. I think at this point of the season, it's cold. I see a lot of running, so I think Najee Harris gonna put up some points. Minnesota playing at the house inside against Caleb Williams. He gonna make some mistakes, give him some points. And when he does, I think Sam Darnold throws about 3 touchdowns this week. Now,
About five.
Josh Allen is we know what he can do. But
Man,
we looking at Alvin Kamara. Who's the quarterback? Is it, I think I saw they signed Ben DiNucci. I just don't have any faith in Ben DiNucci as a quarterback. So why would you not load the box and make him throw the ball? I don't even know who the backup quarterback is. Is Spencer Rattler, Ben DiNucci, somebody else is there. None of them are Derek Carr, and we all know, we know how you feel about Derek Carr, Mr. Morrow, but I think he was their
I mean,
best option.
he is their best option. So yeah,
I don't even know like I said, they signed Ben DiNucci. I know Spencer Rattler is there, and
you
somebody
know
else.
more. You know more than me because all I knew is Carr and Rattler. You know
Right.
more than me.
Yes,
Not being a Saints fan, I really had no interest in keeping up with their roster like that. And having no Saints players on any of my fantasy teams, I have not kept up with their roster at all. So,
my sister-in-law was at the house this weekend. She's a Saints fan, so we discussed vaguely,
mhm,
uh, maybe do a little research.
I got you.
Under normal circumstances, AJ Brown can get you some points, but lately, since those receivers in Philly ain't been doing a whole lot. They've been
Man.
running the ball with Saquon.
And it's while, AJ has expressed his unhappiness on and off the field, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I, I
Saying a
actually
passing's problem.
They're
I
still
actually
winning.
think that it's going to be an opposite effect. I think that AJ Brown's going to get the ball a lot this particular weekend.
I think he'll be targeted a lot. I don't think he's going to get it a
Well,
lot.
that's so. I was going to say, you have the correct phrase. He's going to be targeted a lot. His quarterback is still Jalen. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the targets might be there, but if the ball actually gets there is the big question.
Yeah,
um,
I don't know if that weather gonna look like this weekend when they play. Like I said, they playing. It's Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
No, they're playing
Regardless,
in Philly. Yeah.
they playing in Philly. It's probably gonna be windy.
yeah.
It's probably gonna be cold. They gonna try to run this
Yeah.
ball.
Might be
Not try to.
snowing.
They're going to run the ball.
Exactly. You got Saquon
It's been
Barkley. You gonna
working.
run the
Why
ball?
change it?
You're not
Exactly.
Honestly.
going to. You're not going to.
They're 11-2. Why change it?
So, yeah. All right. So you're going with company man. How about you, Dr. Deuce?
I agree, company man. I mean, I think Josh Allen's going to have a solid game. Don't get me wrong, but when it's all said and done, I don't think Kamara's going to be very productive, just like Cowan said. Now, Hunter Henry, I think, is going to sneakily do well in Arizona as a tight end for New England. And I think Higgins is actually going to have a good game against Tennessee, but I don't think it's going to be enough for what Sam Darnold's about to do to Chicago.
Man, very, very fair. So, all right. So I'm looking at this, and yes, I do. I don't think that the Saints are going to be very effective against the Commanders. I disagree with your assessment of Hunter Henry. I don't think he's going to have a good game
Okay.
against Arizona. T. Higgins is going to have a big game because Tennessee can't. Tennessee's not a good football team. The Cincinnati knows what their bread is buttered. So yeah, I think he has a good game. I do not think that it's going to be so. Their high spots of Allen, Higgins, and probably Sutton um, are not going to be enough to overcome the more solid top to bottom
Hmm.
of Company Man's team. So I too am going to go with Company Man in this particular matchup. So all right. So there we have it. We have consensus picks heading into the playoffs for this weekend. What games are you gentlemen looking forward to this weekend?
Buccaneers and Chargers all day long.
Oh,
Just on principle.
okay. Well, besides that, what else do you like, Jared?
Uh, that was a given. I'm also going to rock. I want to see that Buffalo and Detroit game. I think it's going to be a lot of points. A lot of points, hopefully, for my fantasy team.
It is a potential Super Bowl matchup. Like let's both of these teams are playoff bound and have the ability to make it to the big dance. So it is a possible. We are looking at a possible Super Bowl matchup.
I do want to see
But
the toilet bowl game, though. Oh, I'm sorry, the Jets and Jaguars. I should have been more specific. But
that's just cold blooded. Um,
hey, my wife's a Jags fan, man. It's okay.
I am hoping, wishing, and praying for a snowy game in Cleveland on Sunday versus the Chiefs. I mean, not that the weather is going to be an issue for the Chiefs, but I just wanted the snow so that we get Jameis Winston quotes about playing in the snow. That's all I want. I want more Jameis. Anything that's
You want
that
Preacher
gets
Jameis to start talking to you, man?
anything that gets Jameis going and gets me laughing, I'm all here. I'm 100% here for it, man. Like interesting games with opportunities to clinch this weekend. Texans get the Dolphins at home and they clinch the AFC South with a win. So
Hmm.
Steelers and Eagles both have chances to clinch playoff spots this weekend. Um, yeah, there's a couple of other Packers have a chance to clinch a playoff spot this weekend with a win. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these games go. So, but all right. Well, let the playoffs begin. I wish Dr. Deuce, you got the week off, so you get to just be a spectator and a scout this week. Uh, good luck to you in your matchup this weekend, Mr. Cowan. We did pick you, so please make us proud.
Right?
Because if you lose, you know we're gonna have to hear from the shirtless one.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true.
We're gonna have to hear from the shirtless one if you lose this game. So we'd rather not. But other than that, best of luck again to all your fantasy teams and your regular teams. Since neither one of our teams beat this weekend, but you two have a matchup this weekend. Good luck to you two. And then next
You
week,
know, Mr. Morrow, I just got one thing to say from the bottom of my heart, brother. As the Raiders go, Devastator goes. Good better luck next year, brother.
you know, when you say things like that, it's hard for me to stay impartial. you know, it makes me want to say things like, I hope all your players have season-ending injuries this weekend so
Ouch.
that when you come
Ouch.
off your bye week, you guarantee the loss.
That seems a little harsh, don't you think?
you know,
Just
I, I, I hope
cheating for
both
him.
your quarterbacks have non-contact football injuries this weekend.
Damn. Damn. That doesn't seem well. But if that happens, then Cowan's regular team quarterback has, so that doesn't work for him either.
I'm just saying, man. And then on top of that, I hope Justin Herbert sprains his meniscus again.
Well, he didn't practice today, so I mean, it ain't looking good for him to play this week.
so
That made me
he's,
get
he's
Easton stick.
just
Don't
saying.
you wish that on me?
I was asking. That was a question.
hey,
Yeah,
if you do, it'd probably be easy for you to put 60 points up on him.
really, that's what we're doing now. All right.
You
You know, I ain't
start.
even mad at you. I did
You
start it.
started
You're right. You're right. You're right.
it.
I have to take that one to the chin. You're right.
All right, my brothers. We will see y'all next week so we can pick these second round matchups. Best of luck. Till next time. Peace.